On the broadcast tonight, local elections are coming up in just under 2 weeks. What you need to know.
Opening up, COVID restrictions in the state of Pennsylvania will almost disappear by the end of the month. We have the latest.
And mutt roast and Earl Greyhound tea, how Hilton is rewarding dogs with a brand new menu.
All of that and more right now on SUTV News.
Good evening and welcome to SUTV News. I'm Brady Fisher.
And I'm Livv Faenza. We are less than 2 weeks away from Election Day here in Pennsylvania, and while there's no fanfare of presidential election around this time, local races that can shape your future are on the ballot. On the ballots this spring include 4 statewide measures, including questions on whether the state Congress can extend or terminate emergency declarations by the governor, and expanding the state's loan programs to volunteer fire companies and EMS services. In Pennsylvania, if you aren't registered to vote right now, you won't be able to vote in the primaries on May 18th. If you won't be home for Election Day, you can apply for a mail-in ballot. Applications are due to your county election office by Tuesday, May 11th. To learn more about how to apply for a mail-in ballot or to register to vote in the fall elections, visit votespa.com. The Fashion Archives and Museum of Shippensburg has a new exhibit, and SUTV's Alicia Laluz has the details down to the stitch.
Hello, Shippensburg. I'm here at the Fashion Archives and Museum of Shippensburg University, where they've premiered their new exhibit, Clothed in Beauty, their first in-person exhibition since the start of the COVID-19 pandemic. Officially opened on April 29th, the Fashion Archives and Museum's newest collections offer a variety of items from many cultures and places in different time periods around the world. All of the garments on display have been gifted to the organization through donations, and each one tells a unique story. And in a message about the collection, the director of the Fashion Archives and Museum said that these pieces offer a three-dimensional view of the original wearer's body, taste, and preference in dress in general, or a record of a proud personal moment. Faculty, student workers, and volunteers have spent countless hours refurbishing the different pieces and bringing them back to life. Open Monday through Thursday from 12 p.m. to 4, this exhibit will be on display until the 29th of July and free to SU faculty and students with a valid ID to view. The adult admission fee is $5 and senior admission is $4, with children under 12 being free for patrons outside of the university. I'm Alicia Laluz for SUTV.
Communication and journalism students have been invited to celebrate a fellow student with a screening of the new documentary by honors senior Matthew Zemba. The Zemba Family Story is a documentary in which Matthew explores the story of his family and how their early beginnings tie into the larger story of the Slovak immigration movement of the early 20th century in western Pennsylvania. The documentary is for his senior capstone documentary project, and now all CommJourn students will get to check out all of Zemba's hard work. The screening will be virtual and begins at 6:30 p.m. on Monday, May 10th. This week is a time to show appreciation for our teachers. May 3rd marked the beginning of Teacher Appreciation Week. Select businesses are currently offering free or discounted items through the week. Some participating businesses are Sonic, Buffalo Wild Wings, McDonald's, and Taco Bell. SUTV would like to thank all of the educators for their dedication to students everywhere.
What's coming up this week in the Slate?
Brady Cannizzaro has our Slate Preview.
Coming up in This Week in the Slate. Our news section will cover the full farewell interview with President Carter and the monthly SGA meeting. The opinion section will have the Slate Speaks and submission from staff columnists. There will also be a special year in review insert with this week's paper. Ship Life will feature the SU Arts Fest and an article on the new Fashion Archive exhibit. Arts and Entertainment will feature an article on the Percussion Ensemble concert and an article of Marvel Phase 4's announcement. And finally, our sports section will have recaps on the PSAC Track and Field Championship and baseball. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at ShipUSlate, and be sure to pick up the next edition of the Slate Tuesdays on newsstands or read anytime at theslateonline.com.
Governor Tom Wolf has announced that all COVID-19 restrictions, with the exception of mask wearing, will be eliminated on Memorial Day. SUTV's Trey Nisley has more.
With more and more Pennsylvanians getting their COVID-19 vaccinations, Governor Tom Wolf and his administration announced that nearly all COVID-19 restrictions will be lifted. The change will go into effect on Memorial Day, May 31st, and will allow gatherings, restaurants, and other businesses to be at full capacity. The only order that will remain in place is the mask-wearing mandate for indoor spaces and large crowds. Masks will no longer be required once 70% of Pennsylvanians are fully vaccinated. According to the PA Department of Health, over 50% of the state's population have received their first doses of the vaccine already. Despite restrictions being lifted, school districts and local townships will still be able to carry on with their own restrictions if they choose to. The Wolf administration will be closely monitoring the spread of COVID-19 as we move closer to getting back to normal. This is Trey Nisley, SUTV News.
It's been just a few months since the insurrection of the U.S. Capitol, as well as former President Trump being banned from most major social media outlets. However, Facebook is now possibly considering reinstating his account. SUTV's Adam Beam has more.
It was the decision made by numerous social media outlets to ban former President Donald Trump for inciting the insurrection at the U.S. Capitol back in January, either by terminating his account or removing any and all attempts for him to post ever again. Even now, as President Biden passes his 100 days in office, outlets like Facebook and Twitter continue to stand by their decision and will continue to uphold the ban of the former president, even during the 2024 presidential election, an election to which Trump has been very vocal of running in. However, despite what many of these CEOs of these companies have to say, it's a far more complicated issue. Facebook's oversight board met this Wednesday and have been given an ultimatum. They feel that they were wrong to impose the indefinite ban of former President Trump. Now the company has three options. Either they reinstate Trump's account, make his suspension permanent, or suspend him for a specific period of time. While the many felt the board's decision was initially justified following the Capitol riots, many came to realize that this suspension was meant more as a cover for the company rather than protecting users from false information and harmful speech. There has also been a heavy debate on whether or not this intrudes upon the First Amendment. It should also be noted that following his ban and suspension from so many social media platforms, former President Trump has created his own outlet to post and create messages to his followers similar to the post he would make on Twitter. While Facebook could possibly reinstate the former president, numerous other social media sites stand by their decision. Trump still holds bans on apps like Snapchat, Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, and Instagram. However, if Facebook does allow former President Trump back on, it will most likely also allow him a way back onto Instagram as well. For SUTV News, I'm Adam Beam.
The political world is getting an earful from House Leader Kevin McCarthy as he vents his frustration with Representative Liz Cheney. McCarthy caught on an open mic bashing Cheney while publicly trying to sidestep questions about his opinion of her. Cheney has become a target for conservative Republicans after her refusal to back up Donald Trump's lie that the 2020 election was stolen. With this audio, her days in the House leadership seem to be numbered. CNN congressional correspondent Ryan Nobles has the details.
House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy has had enough. The GOP House leader caught on a hot mic telling a Fox News host what he really thinks about Liz Cheney.
I think she's got real problems. I've had it with her. It's, I've lost confidence.
The edited audio, which does not include the questions, a clear sign the Wyoming Congresswoman's days in House leadership are numbered.
Well, someone just has to bring emotion, but I assume that will probably take place.
Just a few months ago, McCarthy defended Cheney from the backlash of conservative members angry over her vote to impeach former President Trump and her critique of his role in the January 6th insurrection.
We call for a vote to seek the removal of Ms. Cheney from your leadership seat.
The conference decides all that. We're here talking about small business.
Now McCarthy seems content to let the conference's far-right members take Cheney out of her role as the third-ranking House Republican.
I have heard from members concerned about her ability to carry out the job as conference chair, to carry out the message. We all need to be working as one if we're able to win the majority.
Cheney, meanwhile, seems prepared to go down swinging, refusing to lie about Trump. This is about whether the Republican Party is going to perpetuate lies about the 2020 election and attempt to whitewash what happened on January 6th. Cheney spokesperson Jeremy Adler said in a statement, Liz will not do that. That is the issue. As the pressure mounts, Cheney, in a closed-door meeting with donors, said that Trump's behavior on January 6 was just too much for her. It is a threat to democracy. What he did on January 6th is a line that cannot be crossed. The jockeying to replace Cheney is already underway. Sources tell CNN that New York Congresswoman Elise Stefanik is already making calls about the job. Some Republicans would like to replace Cheney with another woman. In addition to Stefanik, Jim Banks, who currently chairs the influential Republican Study Committee, is being considered, as well as Jackie Orlowski of Indiana, and a dark horse, Mike Johnson of Louisiana, a prominent member of the Conservative Freedom Caucus. Tonight, Democrats are seizing on the GOP drama. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi sending an email accusing Republicans of looking for, quote, a non-threatening female seeking replacement for House Republican Conference Chair. And Senator Mitt Romney of Utah, who was recently booed on a stage at a state convention, in part because of his vote to convict Trump during his last impeachment trial.
Aren't you embarrassed?
Defending Cheney today, tweeting, Liz Cheney refuses to lie. As one of my Republican Senate colleagues said to me following my impeachment vote, I wouldn't want to be a member of a group that punished someone for following their conscience.
That was Ryan Nobles reporting. Now, after a beautiful day today, let's head over to Angel B. Money, who has a look at this week's weather.
After a nice, bright, sunny day, rain is in the forecast, so keep your umbrella handy. Tonight, temps drop into the mid-40s for a cloudy night with wind gusts up to 7 miles per hour. Tomorrow, a high of 61, with showers expected in the morning and the afternoon. Looking ahead, temps drop this weekend into the mid-50s with periods of sun and rain expected on both Saturday and Sunday. Temps rise to the low 60s with continued showers on Monday. The rain clears and the sun returns on Tuesday with a high of 64 and mid-60s to close out the week. Hopefully, the sun will stick around as we begin to close out the semester. Study hard as we approach finals. That's all for the weather this week. I'm Angel B. Money. Now back to Livv and Brady at the desk.
Many people forced into isolation during the COVID-19 pandemic credit their pets for keeping them sane through the lockdown. Hilton wants to reward those furry friends with some fine dining. The hotel chain has unveiled a mouth-watering new dog menu called Bon Appetit. It features 4 options: beef dog Agnon, a brisket with mashed potatoes, carrots, green beans, and gravy, mutt roast, a tomato pasta with cheese, Earl Greyhound tea, and Tailwagger Creek, a non-alcoholic wine. Research conducted by Hilton found 82% of British pet owners said their dog was as valuable and supportive as family and close friends over the past year. The canine menu will be offered across 32 of Hilton's pet-friendly hotels in the UK and Ireland, beginning May 17th.
Wow, I guess my dog Rudy and I are going to have to take a trip up to the UK.
Yeah, I might not be a dog, but some of the menu items sounded pretty tasty. That's our broadcast for tonight. I'm Brady Fisher.
And I'm Livv Faenza. Be sure to follow us on all of our social media at SUTV News and check out our website at sutvnews.org.
We're back with one last week of shows next week, beginning with sports on Tuesday. Until then, good night.